So welcome to this video. In this video, we are going to discuss about marginal costing. So marginal costing is a very important part of management accounting, and it's a quite interesting concept, and it's quite extensive, and it has like wide applications in management accounting here. So we'll discuss about this topic first theoretically, then we'll move on to how to work out these problems. Okay, so this is like one of the most important chapters in which you can apply even in your real life. Okay, so you can apply it in decision making, and you can make better decisions. You can decide upon a lot of decisions with marginal costing. Okay, so we'll start with what is the concept of marginal costing. See, marginal costing is the ascertainment of marginal cost and of the effect on profit of change in volume or type of output by differentiating between fixed costs and variable costs. Okay, so normally what we do is we try to find out the profit by having sales. From there we less the total cost, and we finally end up with the profit. This is how normal or a traditional accounting system will have. Okay, so even if you take a financial accounting system, this is how it computes the profit. So what it does is it assumes that all costs are as total cost. But what does management accounting and marginal cost does is it divides the cost. Okay, it divides this total cost into two sub elements. Okay, the two sub elements are called as we'll take it here. Okay, we'll put it here. So it's called as, one is variable cost and fixed cost. So essentially it divides the cost, or it bifurcates a cost into two parts. One is variable cost and fixed cost. So the sales minus the variable cost, so you could see here the sales minus the variable cost is called as contribution. Okay, and the contribution minus the fixed cost is called as profit. So if you essentially you take all these elements are nothing but total cost. Okay, these are nothing but total cost. So reduce your total cost, and that will be your profit. But we are bifurcating that cost into two parts, which is called as variable cost and fixed cost. Okay, so the difference between sales and variable cost is called as contribution. Okay, so what is contribution is, what is the profit that you get for the sale of one unit. Okay, we can't say exactly profit, but what is the cash inflow that you get for the sale of one product. Okay, you can think it like in that terms. Okay, that's a maximum definition we could come close to giving for contribution. Okay, hope you got the idea here. The idea in marginal costing is bifurcating or dividing the cost into two parts, which is called as variable and fixed cost. And as we have seen in the introduction to cost accounting itself, that variable cost is a cost which changes with activity. Okay, it changes with activity. And what is a fixed cost? So I think we can put it like this. And what is a fixed cost? A cost which changes with time. Okay, with time. So how we could put this? If you produce one single product, okay, it's 100 rupees. If you produce two products, it's 200 rupees. So the additional production is called as variable cost. Whether you produce or you don't produce, you have to pay the fixed cost. So that is called as a fixed cost. For example, rent. So rent or salary, you have to pay this cost irrespective of the production or sales. So that is a fixed cost here. So that's what the definition tells here. Where you could apply this concept, you could apply this concept in a wide variety of things to find out profitability of products. Okay, where you divide it into what is the contribution it gives and what's the profit it gives. Okay, so you can think in that terms. You can also think in terms of limiting factor. What's limiting factor? We'll see in this chapter. Make or buy decisions. Assume that you have like 2 3 products. Which product should be made and which product should be outsourced and bought? Okay. Diversification of production. Should we produce some other product also in our factory? Fixation of selling price. What price should be fixed and what would be the sales? Alternative methods of manufacturing. So assume that you have to buy 2 machines. Okay, you have to buy a machine for manufacturing. So will you buy machine 1 versus machine 2? Okay, machine 1 versus machine 2. So if you want to take that kind of a decision, then also marginal costing is useful. And operate or shut down. Should you continue the business or should you shut it down, or should you shut it down for a temporary period? Okay, so you can put like this: shut down for temporary time or permanently. Okay, so should you shut it down temporarily or permanently? Okay, or we'll put it like temporarily. Okay, so even this decision it helps. So which companies will try to shut down temporarily or permanently is something like hotels, okay, or something like theme parks will not have much customers during some winter season or something. So at that time they will try to go for partially closing down or permanently closing down the facility. Again they will open up in the summer or during the vacation time. So that kind of decisions also has to be taken, and marginal costing helps that. Maintaining a desired level of profitability. So when selling price changes, when variable cost changes, fixed cost changes, uh, how many units should you sell to maintain the same profits? Okay, so when selling price comma variable cost comma fixed cost changes, okay, then how many units to make to have same profit? Okay, so that's a kind of important question. Okay, so even when things are like changing, you want to have a same amount of profitability. Alternative courses of action, profit planning, and appraisal of performance. Okay, so it has a wide range of applications here, and also there are like certain assumptions which are made in marginal costing. So we'll just look at the assumptions made. In marginal costing system, only variable costs are considered into consideration for calculating unit cost. Okay, so variable cost number is a very important number. Fixed cost is not such an important number in marginal costing. So fixed costs are period costs and written off over the period. Okay, so usually fixed cost is not such an important number, and okay, I think third point we leave it. It's not that important. Okay, fourth point we leave, and fifth point. So marginal costing is useful for a short-term decision-making purpose. You can't use it for a longer-term decision-making purpose, but for short-term decision-making, it's like very powerful. And marginal costing will also help you to find out what is the behavior of the cost, whether it's a fixed cost, variable cost, semi-variable cost. And seventh point, I think we leave it. So the difference between the sale price and cost of sales is called as contribution. Okay, I think that we have already discussed. So let's see at the important terms which are used in marginal costing, because without these terms, it's quite impossible to understand marginal costing. So we'll start. So the first one is contribution. So contribution, as we have already seen, it's a difference between the sales and variable cost. It can be a whole amount of sales and whole amount of variable cost, which gives a whole amount of contribution, or it can be selling price per unit, variable cost per unit, which gives the answer to contribution per unit. So that idea you can get it from here. Okay, so here we have done it in per unit. This is in per unit also you can calculate, or you can also calculate in total amount. Okay, you can calculate in both ways, you will get the similar kind of an answer. Okay, so that's what this contribution is all about. Contribution is the difference between the sales and the marginal cost or variable cost. So we have like some more items. We have things called as PV ratio, break even point, and margin of safety. So rather than looking at them now, we will do a problem and we'll understand. There's also break even analysis. When we do a problem, we'll take this theory. So for as of now, what we'll simply do is we will copy all these items and we'll paste it in the problem. While we do a problem, we'll get the idea. Okay,